Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Mobile Environmental Solutions, the leading portable mobile paint booth. And by BrothersTrucks.com, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration.
You know, I miss having John Gardner with me here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, but lucky for me, John and I still get to work together on a show called Tech Garage. Really cool stuff, and you can see it here on Motor Trend on Saturdays at 8 a.m. or on our YouTube channel. Here's a little taste.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Well, it's Garage Ed time, and we've talked about brake fundamentals in Show 1. Then we looked at different calipers and rotors. It only makes sense to turn our attention to brake pads. And brake pads, once again, come in all shapes, sizes, and flavors. So let's start out here with metallic brake pads. Now, metallic brake pads, they're basically just fully metal pads. You don't see those on a lot of passenger cars. You see them on those race cars. Boy, if you ever watch the race at night and you see those rotors are glowing super red, that's because they last forever. They're metal, but boy, they get hot. They get super, super hot, but they can handle the heat and they can handle a long race. What we use on our passenger cars is usually these semi-metallic pads. That's pretty good. This is a hybrid technology, but there's all kinds of material in there. It's just your regular run-of-the-mill semi-metallic pad. A lot of manufacturers put them on the car. These are great sets. I got all these sets at RockAuto.com. They got premium brake pads or choices across the line. But semi-metallic pads have a little bit of metal in there. You may get a little squeal. They're going to last about middle of the road versus the metallic pads lasting forever, but not as good as stopping power as the actual semi-metallic. Then what we ran into is ceramic pads. This is pretty cool. Ceramic pads have really good stopping capability. They also withstand the heat. On a lot of multiple stops, they can dissipate it and get rid of it. And what I like about the ceramic pads is you still get the brake dust, but the brake dust is white, so you don't get all the black rims on there. Really, really nice choice, ceramic brake pads, but definitely look at your manufacturer specification and see what they call for. That's what you want to use. Now, when it comes to brake pads, there's also a deal called a brake pad wear indicator. Something that's going to let you know as a driver, either audible, tactile, some way, that your pads are starting to wear out. And I have one right here. You can see this little metal comes out to the pad and it comes down to about right here. So once that pad starts to wear past that point, this is going to scrape the rotor. Now, this is a softer metal than the rotor, so it shouldn't hurt the rotor, but you're going to get that audible chirp. Chirp, 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 chirp as you're driving. Now, if you got a lot of money like Dave and you drive a high-performance car, you may actually have an electronic sensor. This is really cool. This come off a BMW, and you just replace the electronic sensor in the next set of pads. You put it in there, and when it touches, it grounds out a circuit, and it lets the driver know it's time to replace the brake pads. Also, a couple segments ago, you're going to have to rewind, but we talked about the importance of the hardware and the pads moving. If you get associated hardware, put it on. You want this pad to slide back and forth. This one right here, not so much. It's going to stick, it's going to have problems. Make sure it's clean. It's all about that coefficient of friction, making sure that you have that good contact surface. You definitely don't want them to be messed up or dirty.
Speaking of dirty, we get that complaint a lot about brake squeal and noises coming from the brakes, and it's usually because they're dirty, John. And there's something you can do. Now, I pulled this one off here. This pad, of course, probably should be replaced,
sure,
but for sake of demonstration, we'll show you how to clean them up. You can see the shiny surface on this side, and there's a simple solution right here. You grab some sandpaper, put it on a flat surface, and you can start to rub. You can see the dirt coming off of that already.
Yep.
And all the grime. There's brake dust on here. There's dust from the road, all kinds of mud that collects on these, and just with a little bit of that, you can see we're already starting to get some of the shiny off, get some of the surface there. It's more grippy. For lack of a better term, for your brakes.
Perfect. So you're making that good coefficient of friction. You can see the shines going. Just keep going, keep it level, beautiful. All that dust come off. You're back to that high coefficient of friction. Now you got another trick to help with the sound.
Sure, and this one's also super simple, so I'll throw this out here. Looking at the other side, you can see we've cleaned it up a bit, but maybe you're still wanting to get rid of that squeal, and here's a good way to do it. This is called Disc Brake Quiet. The name kind of says it all here. It keeps your brakes quiet. You want to get rid of that sound, so spray a little of this on. wait a few minutes, so about 5 minutes or so, you'll be ready to go here. And this creates sort of a rubber surface on the back, and that will eliminate some of the noise. It'll absorb the sound, and you'll be able to drive noise-free, and you'll just feel better about your ride.
Exactly. So that's going to work out real good for you. You may have put some new pads on. You didn't clean them up real well. That's an issue. Dave, incredible.
Well, that is going to do it for this edition of our show. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to do it once again next week when the crew gets back from break, so be sure to tune in because we have a great show planned for you here on Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.